Trailers are tricky things, yet seem inevitable, for as long as there are movies. Marketing has changed dramatically with the rise of the internet, but condensing a movie into no more than a few minutes remains a popular way to promote upcoming releases. Trailers have thrived and generated buzz, whether shown in cinemas, on television, or now, more often than not, on YouTube.
They're tricky, though, because they don't always line up with the finished film in tone, style, or quality. Sometimes, bad trailers foreshadow bad movies, but at other times, less than great trailers are released for superb films. Most of the following trailers fit into the former camp rather than the latter, but they all share a lack of quality, whether that's because they're simply unappealing, misleading, or jammed with too many details that should have been left unspoiled.
Number 10, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice is a pretty flawed superhero film overall, but the movie was still a little better than the trailer. Simply put, it's one of those trailers that just gives away too much, including the idea that Batman and Superman will put aside their differences before the film's end, that Doomsday will appear, and that Wonder Woman will be featured in those final scenes. Sure, the union of two iconic DC heroes was perhaps inevitable, given that Dawn of Justice is in the title and alludes to the Justice League, but the whole final act, post the titular fight, could have easily been kept out of the marketing. There's really only one big moment narratively that isn't spelled out in the trailer, and when the movie itself is kind of middling and flawed, you can't afford to undermine anything through the marketing that could prove to be a pleasant surprise in the film proper.
Number 9, Jack and Jill. One thing that the Jack and Jill trailer can't be criticized for is being misleading. The final film was very bad, and the trailer is similarly awful, and could charitably be called honest about the rather miserable comedy you'll witness if you watch the full movie. One goes for 2.5 minutes, and the other goes for 1.5 hours. Pick your poison. It's a low point in Adam Sandler's filmography, and also drags Al Pacino down with it, being one of his worst ever films. Sandler plays both the title characters, a pair of twins, while Pacino plays an extra cartoonish version of himself. Jack and Jill is a lazy film with some of its laziest jokes crammed into the trailer, which honestly feels more like an ominous warning than a piece of promotional material.
Number 8, The Mummy. The Mummy technically has an all-timer of a bad trailer, but that was admittedly the result of a technical mishap that was deleted rather quickly, but lives on through unofficial channels and in our hearts. Essentially, a trailer with unfinished audio was mistakenly uploaded, with a lack of music and only sporadic sound effects, making the whole thing a goldmine of unintentional comedy. Of course, the movie came in without much fanfare, too. It would have likely been a failed franchise starter at a film even if the marketing had gone smoothly, but The Mummy's unfinished trailer did create something of a terrible first impression. Still, the goofy trailer is a much better watch than the movie itself, with anyone interested in the rather long-running series being better off watching just about anything Mummy-related that was released before this reboot.
Number 7, Megalopolis. Almost a decade on from The Mummy, Megalopolis had a trailer that also had to be taken down. The short story is that the film's marketing wanted to put forth the message that previous Francis Ford Coppola movies confused people upon release, yet became classics in time, and that therefore, Megalopolis, for all its controversy, was also going to be a future classic. And the idea of getting in early, liking something before the masses do, so to speak? That's enticing, to some extent. The problem was that the review quotes used to demonstrate criticisms of prior Coppola movies were found to be AI-generated. It was a pretty embarrassing series of events, a technically good idea to base a trailer around that was entirely undone by the execution, which misled and deceived through the use of AI creating fabricated quotes and attributing them to real reviewers.
Number 6, Ghostbusters. A trailer that missed the mark in the same way Jack and Jill's trailer did. Ghostbusters, 2016, did a terrible job of inspiring much interest for a film that was always more than a little divisive. To its credit, Ghostbusters did end up receiving generally good reviews, not exactly echoed by all viewers, though, so it could arguably be an instance where the film ended up being better than the trailer. The comedy feels particularly broad and lacks much by way of wit in the trailer, though. The snarky and dry humor of the original film isn't really visible within the trailer for this updated Ghostbusters, and the effects also look particularly garish and unappealing. The things that worked for some people in the final film aren't really displayed in the trailer, making it a case where the marketing potentially hurt the movie's chances of finding an audience. Number 5, Madam Web. An instantly infamous superhero movie, Madam Web was ridiculed before release, thanks to its marketing, and then after it got released, owing to the film overall just not being good. The movie was a lackluster origin story for Cassandra Webb, on top of setting up a bunch of new characters whose future adventures probably won't be explored. It's questionable stuff all around, with the trailer being bad on two fronts, as it was generally goofy/sloppy in the ways the film was, and it proved misleading, putting an emphasis on things that weren't really large parts of the actual movie. The trailer for Madame Web also introduced audiences to the immortal line, "He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders just before she died," which is admittedly something, at least.
Number 4, Sonic the Hedgehog. Please keep in mind that we're talking about the first trailer, not the actual film, rounding out the trilogy of poorly executed trailers that were taken down from official YouTube channels, alongside The Mummy and Megalopolis, is Sonic the Hedgehog 2020. When this trailer dropped, you couldn't turn your head on the internet without seeing someone complaining about how terrible the titular character looked within the world of this film, losing anything by way of charm and instead looking like an uncanny nightmare. The backlash was so strong that the character was redesigned, and the new look went down a whole lot easier. When the film was actually released, Sonic the Hedgehog proved to be pretty well received by video game movie standards, and the so-called The Ugly Sonic lives on as an infamous meme, as well as a pretty funny character in 2022's Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Number 3, The Godfather. What's this? One of the greatest epic crime movies of all time being included among various lesser films in a ranking that's all about acknowledging the worst of something? Yes, because the original theatrical trailer for The Godfather is surprisingly terrible. The film itself is obviously incredible, and deserves all the praise in the world, but the approach taken to marketing it initially was baffling. The early 1970s were a while ago, so maybe different trailers worked for different times. But when watching The Godfather's trailer today, it's confounding how the whole thing plays out. It's just a slideshow of various scenes from the movie. Technically speaking, almost the entire movie, including shots of pivotal death scenes that entirely undermine any tension for anyone unfortunate enough to see the trailer before the movie. There's giving away too much narratively, and then there's giving away pretty much everything narratively, with this trailer going all in on the latter.
Number 2, a Minecraft movie. Though a Minecraft movie has not been released yet, at the time of writing, its trailer already feels like a contender for the worst of all time. Fans of Minecraft were largely disappointed with the way the game's world was translated to the big screen, as far as what's seen in the trailer, and those who aren't particularly big on Minecraft were similarly confused by the sheer ugliness and unfunniness of it all. It has cliched comedic beats, jokes that feel like anti-humor, and a tacky slowed-down version of Magical Mystery Tour by the Beatles, with musical choices like that being beyond exhausting in trailers by now. Jason Momoa's look, the uncanny creatures, the jump scare provided by Jack Black as Steve, the trailer makes the film look like the worst thing in the world. Again, 2025 could prove everyone wrong. In that year, a Minecraft movie might reveal itself to be actually good. But right now, based on the first trailer, it doesn't look likely. And number 1, the 2019's biggest box office bomb of the year that Universal, Amblin, and working title made, Cats. The holy grail of terrible trailers, Cats promised horrors beyond your worst nightmares with its infamous trailer, and then the movie proper lived up to that promise, or threat, depending on your point of view. The look of the film was instantly unsettling, with uneasy camera work, campy songs that work better on stage, and horrifying character designs jumping out and traumatizing right away. Cats is an endurance test of a movie, and the trailer similarly stretches on for what feels like much longer than its actual duration. It's technically accurate as a piece of marketing, because both trailer and film are unpleasant cinematic fever dreams. But there's not 1 second of the Cats trailer that succeeds in making the film look anywhere close to appealing or fun, and it's a go-to example of how not to market a movie.
That'll do for this video, and from all of us at Bullet 6 Cougar Corporation, thanks for watching.